Hey, hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the recap of The Last of Us. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episode. You can catch our recaps anytime, available on most major podcast platforms, including here on YouTube. So get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. I'm your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at The Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co-host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey Tamara, hey everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you'd like to connect with me online, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
All right. So before we get started, we would like to remind you that we do want your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live right now, feel free to leave comments in the chat below. And if you're catching on a replay, you can still leave comments or you can call in by using the voicemail link in the show notes. We do want to hear from you and possibly include your comments in upcoming episodes. So don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you are listening. That would help us out a lot. So if you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Yes, no scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around a lot. And of course, huge spoiler alert for the show. We did not play the video game, so don't worry. We won't spoil you there. If you're playing, we're not going to mess it up for you. But if you're cool with that, this is the place for you. And let's just jump right on in. Today, we are talking about episode 4.
Hold my hand. Is that it?
It's something like Hold My Hand. Let me look. I'm curious now because it's based off of that song they were playing.
I wanna hold. No,
Oh, not that song.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Please hold to my hand. That's what it says, but that doesn't read well. Please hold to my hand. Maybe it's please hold my hand.
Yeah,
and it's a typo.
Could be, but it's in. So last week, we had this long, in-depth story with Frank and was it Bob?
Bob. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and this week, you can kind of see where they're kind of using that as a way to show the relationship that's developing between Joel and my mind just went blank. Please, God help me.
Ellie.
Throw it. Thank you, Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just should have thrown the name out for me. But yeah, you can see where you can see where this one, where as hard as Joel is trying not, to bond with her. No, your cargo. You can see that it's not working well for him right now.
Right. So high level though, I kind of just want to put this out there before we start getting into the nitty-gritty of it.
Okay.
So coming off of last week, which was, I think, a near impeccable episode.
It was.
This was a much it just didn't hit the note the same, as good.
Yeah.
It was still good, right? It was a good episode. But man, coming off that high of last week, this was definitely a notable difference.
Well, we got to see this. I think part of it too was last week we got to see this long 20-year relationship develop in these snippets of time, and then we go back to Joel and Ellie, and we're now once again kind of plotting through at in current time. So I think that probably has something to do with it.
Definitely. Also, I think it was a little shorter episode, so
it was.
There may have been some stuff they cut that could have been left. I don't know. But we did meet new characters this episode as well. We were waiting for the character of Kathleen, who was played by Melanie Linsky. She's the one that I liked from Yellow Jackets, and she's been
Hmm.
in other stuff. So she's like the militant, like rebel faction leader,
Hmm.
and her and her group took down Fedra from
Right.
that area. So even she didn't hit like I thought she would.
I gotta watching them. I'm like, really, is there any difference between her and Fedra? No, not really.
Not really, no, but I
Y-
guess you have to be that cruel to take them out.
Right. Yeah, because you can. So the scene with her and the doctor. He's like,
Mhm,
I didn't sell you out.
mhm,
I help people. I didn't sell you out. I didn't sell your brother out. And when they brought the two guys back that Joel had gotten rid of,
mhm.
uh, she's like, if we had a doctor, would that help? No, that wouldn't help.
No,
And she went
no.
back and shot him. I'm like, just because this one time you didn't need a doctor doesn't mean that you won't need a doctor an hour from now. Yeah.
I know. She sure did. She went right back. She is so I don't wanna say heartless, but she didn't think about it twice. After, that one guy came back and he was,
Hmm.
like, dying and there was nothing that could be done, she was like, "Oh, done." She just went back there and just blew his head off, basically. Um,
And
no
definitely paranoia. She has
Yeah,
got some good paranoia going.
no questions, no nothing. She's like, "We're done." I'm like and
Hmm.
I'm like, "Oh, no, she's gonna go kill that dude."
Oh yeah. As soon as she turned around, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm like, and for me, the pragmatic part of me would go, oh, I'm sorry, no, you don't kill the doctor. I don't care if the
What you
doctor is a
did.
sadistic asshole.
Right.
In this reality, you don't kill the doctor.
You need a doctor always.
And I don't know if there are other doctors. I'm going to assume that there's probably not many of them
Mhm.
because more than likely most of them were wiped out initially with the when the outbreak happened.
Mhm.
It's probably mostly like country doctors or ones that weren't in the hospitals that survived.
Right. Probably there's not that many of them out there, to be honest.
Exactly. So, and I'm not, and this is not the kind of place that I really think they're setting up, making new doctors.
Mhm.
So, this is a dying skill set that you really kind of need.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
she didn't care.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
and the first thing she thought, was, oh, they must have brought in some outside contractors to whatever. Seriously?
So did
They,
she think that Fedra brought them or that Henry brought them?
honestly, I think they're one and the same in her mind.
Hmm.
Because the reason she's mad at Henry is because um, he basically sold other people out to keep him and his son safe.
Yeah.
And my guess is probably if you get down to the nitty gritty, almost everyone in that place at some point has sold someone out to save their own asses.
Which is, I think the perfect way this show needs to be that, everyone has a little dark, no one's good, everyone's like a little morally gray.
Hmm.
Because that's just what you have to do to survive.
Right.
So, of course, there are some outright evil people, but I don't think, there's good or bad in the traditional sense when you're in this kind of situation.
Well, like he's like, the doctor's like, I delivered you. I held you in
Mhm.
my hands. I didn't sell you or your brother out.
She like, "I don't give a."
I don't care. And the thing of it is she didn't. The thing of it was is she was even acknowledging that the doctor hadn't done anything per se. The only thing he had done is he might possibly know where Henry is or where
Yeah,
or any of the people that she listed, and
right,
he wasn't giving them up
right.
because he knew giving them up meant killing them,
Mhm.
and he wasn't willing to do that. So the doctor wasn't even a bad person per se. He just happened to be the focus of her ire.
Right. And honestly, they have had obviously, we could tell from from the things that Kathleen was saying, they have been looking for the 2 of them and
Hmm.
unable to find them. But it seemed like they found them pretty easily. when they actually started looking,
Right.
like that guy's like, "Oh, we found something." And then
Hmm.
they just walk and he's like, "Up there." Like, how did you even find that? You haven't been able to find them this whole time. And now you just go into this building, just happen to pull down a hatch and just happen to find them just like that.
Well, it seemed like the efforts were redoubled after Joel and Ellie, entered the scene.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seemed too easy, but okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah,
Um,
and it could be that that place was close to where Joel and Ellie crashed.
yeah, I think it must have been pretty close because they walked right in on them. They got the drop on
Hmm.
them, which I
So
knew they would, by the way.
well, and it's pretty interesting too because although I gotta tell you, if I had been Joel, I would not have gone into the city. I would have I would have gone around the overpass.
Yeah, because he was trying to. Okay, so when they got to the tunnel, it was blocked.
Hmm.
And so his thought was, okay, you know how when you get off the freeway, you think you can kind of just ride alongside it and get back on
Hmm.
later? But that went completely wrong. Like he was all the way in the city. I'm like, you're so far away from the freeway right now.
Oh yeah,
I
and
don't
you can
even know.
yeah. He's asking her, yeah, where are we? I don't know, dude. I just got in the car 2 days ago.
Right.
You
She's
can
like,
see
I'm not used to looking at maps. I don't know. I don't have a sense of direction. This is all bad. You asking me? Like,
right.
okay.
Well, and I do know. I mean, I've been through Kansas City a couple of times, but I will say that that overpass, it being blocked, and we know that he's gone cross country before. Why didn't he do the same thing?
Yeah.
Why not just circle around? It's not like the whole area was barricaded. He could have just gone around instead of taking the off ramp back.
Mm-hmm. I don't
But
know. I do question why he made that choice, but maybe he thought it would just be quicker, right?
maybe
But
less
quicker
risk
isn't
of
better necessarily.
maybe less risk because you can always bottom out with a in a hole or something. I don't know. Although I will say I was really kind of shocked. For the first time, we have seen animals outside of birds and amphibians on this show.
What animals did you see?
The buffalo,
Oh yeah.
that whole
Duh.
herd of buffalo.
Oh yeah. There we
I was
go.
I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my god, but that is literally the very first thing that animal we've actually seen outside of birds and amphibians."
Yeah, but those were also not in a city.
Right. And when Joel went off the road
Mm-hmm.
and pulled into the woods, and she's like, "Well, it's they can't see fire." Oh no, it's not for the zombies. It's
The
people.
people. We don't want to be, and I get it. They want to be invisible because
Hmm.
people are problems. You can't trust people. And he expressed to her, like, eventually, he says, when me and Tess met up, we met these people and we did things, right? We tried to survive. So obviously they did things he probably regrets.
Hmm. I think
So,
Joel has a
yeah.
lot of regrets.
Oh, yeah. So he knows people are not kind and people want to take what you have, right?
Hmm. Oh
Among
yeah.
other things to you, do things to you,
Hmm. Yeah.
So he's like, it's best that we just stay away from people, and that's totally valid. And she just doesn't quite understand, but I think she does now.
Well, and I think because after when he said, or she made the comment, well, are you afraid they're going to steal our stuff? Oh, that'll be the least of our worries,
Oh, right,
or the least of the things they do to us. You
right.
can see that there is a moment where she was really scared.
Yeah, I think she kind of thought for a second, like, what else could they do? Oh, I don't want to find out. I don't
I
want to
don't want
find
to
out.
know,
Right.
because everything else is bad.
Yeah. Everything is bad. There's nothing good can come of it.
Yeah, nothing good. It's all bad,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because where they were at was really very pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And but Joel said that this isn't a good place for the mushrooms to grow or the fungus to grow, and they're they're away from most people. So definitely, if I gotta say, if I was living in that apocalypse, I would definitely not be living in one of those cities. I would be off the grid somewhere in like in a forest like that.
Yes, I would find the most abandoned place I could find, so far off the beaten path, no one would find me. They'd have to come with machetes through the woods or
And the
whatever.
brambles.
Right. They would I mean, it would be a fluke if someone found me.
Hmm. Yeah, because everything that I've seen tells me that nothing good is coming out of any of these cities.
Mm-mm.
These are not places that they're they're concentration camps, self-imposed concentration camps.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, there's some security, I suppose. There's some food, but honestly, I I think you'd almost be better off out in the woods. I mean, there is technically food and buffalo, and and Joel and or not Joel, but Bob and Henry did very well.
And they were, like, in a small town, but they also lucked out because, Fedra thought that town was accounted for, right? They thought they cleared that town.
Oh yeah,
So no
but
one really was coming back to check for them.
right. But I think that's kind of how they operate everywhere.
Mhm.
They're not going, at least not much, outside of cities.
Right.
And I'm getting the impression there's some trade, but not a lot, and not even a lot of official trade,
Mhm.
because back in the first episode, Joel had those pills, and the guy that worked for Fredra wasn't able to get those kinds of things.
Right, right.
So he's aware that there are other cities that are making this stuff,
Mhm.
but it's not coming in, or at least not very much is coming in on official channels.
Oh, definitely. It's all under the table, right?
Hmm.
They're all sneaking around, trading because, then Fedra won't have control of what's happening, right? They
Right.
won't have all the control of everything, which they hate because that's how you keep people in line. We keep your food, we keep your money, we keep your resources. You do what we say. You follow the rules. But
Yeah.
when people start trading and doing that stuff, it makes it harder to,
Right.
do that.
And
But
and and I'm also getting the impression that Federer, the other big thing is they don't want people to move around, because the more they move around, the more there's possible exposure. So
absolutely.
they don't want people out and about. They don't want traveling. They don't want commerce. They just want people to stay put.
Exactly.
And and honestly, I think those guards are there just as much to keep the people in as they are to keep the bad stuff out.
Oh, definitely. Because just to go back to the first episode, I think that guy who was hung, wasn't he trying to sneak out?
Hmm.
Like he wasn't even sneaking in. He was trying to get out and he died.
Right. And you would think that, oh, fine, if you want out, let him out. But going back to the second episode, they were killing people if they couldn't fit them inside, these sheltered areas.
Yeah.
So as far as they're concerned, if you're not inside, then you're
You're
good as
dead.
dead, because you know you become a possible vector carrier.
Yes.
So yeah, that's why there's very little commerce or movement at this point. And
Mhm.
while there are occasionally you'll see people on the move, for the most part, everyone is staying put.
Mhm.
There's on The Walking Dead, these people are all over the place. They're moving all over the place.
I know, right?
but on this show, everyone is pretty much hunkered down, and once they found a safe location, more or less, they don't go anywhere outside of it.
Mhm. Which
So,
makes sense, from what they're dealing with. Makes
mhm,
sense. So was it just me, or Ellie seemed like she was very enamored with this gun that she picked
mhm.
up.
Oh yeah.
She, she's like playing with a gun essentially.
Well, I think part of it is it's the age.
Mm.
There's always a fascination with things that can inflict damage at
Mm,
that age, partly because they have a really hard time in understanding the finality of death in a close personal way.
right, right.
And the other part is she has been taught how to, she said that she's learned how to use a gun. She obviously knew how to take it apart and take out the, flip the last bullet and everything else. She's
Mhm.
aware where the safety is, so she has some basic understanding of how guns work. She was taught that at the federal schools. And I think she very much wants to be a part of the solution, not just cargo.
Yes. And she actually ends up being so,
Hmm.
after they are attacked by those people and they have to run and hide. And of course, Joel gets attacked and he's literally being choked out.
Yeah.
And then Ellie comes behind that guy. I'm like, oh, she gonna shoot him right in the back. And she does.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do. And then the guy's like, oh, my legs don't move. I'm like, well, you're gonna kill that guy. And he
Well,
instantly started pleading with her and trying to like persuade her.
oh yeah. You can come to my house. You can meet my mother. We'll have food.
Right.
I'm like, you could have all started with that. I'm just
I
saying.
know.
If y'all were that friendly, you could have started with.
Mm-hmm.
But these are not. Everyone is very inwardly turned, and
Yes.
the idea, and again, because I think travel is so discouraged, the idea of people, of Joel just trying to get from one spot to another is almost unheard of. Even the ones that were escaping, the Fedra collapse, it's assumed that they're still in the city. They haven't tried to leave.
Right. And
And
this whole thing about that makes me feel like even though, and we've talked about this with The Walking Dead, right? Our people we know, so we don't think of them as doing something bad. But those other people are like this, these people are intruding. They
right.
could be here to scavenger us, do something to us. So
Hmm. Well,
it's
and
like,
even
yeah.
even if Joel presents himself, I'm just trying to get her. I'm just trying to get to my brother. He even says, "This is my daughter,"
Mhm.
and I'm trying to get to I'm trying to get to my brother. I don't think he would be believed. The paranoia is deep.
Oh yeah, and I don't blame them at all. So that's why I feel like, this situation was the absolute worst case scenario,
Hmm.
but I don't think that those other people are quote unquote the bad team because of
Right.
what happened. I just think that's just a product of what's happening in this environment.
Right. And even if these people hadn't taken over control, if it had been under Federal control, I
Mhm.
think the outcome for Joel would have been the same,
Mhm.
because Federer doesn't want new people. They don't
Mhm.
want people traveling. Anyone that's outside the walls has to be dangerous. So I
Mm,
think he would have had a similar reception
right.
if it had been Federer controlled. It wouldn't have mattered who could. It doesn't matter who controls the city. The, the
You're
the
dead.
reception would have been the same.
Absolutely. And so even with, all of that, and then of course when Henry and Sam come upon Joel and Ellie, they're having them at gunpoint. But we
Hmm.
saw the preview, so we know. And we also know they're the main character, so they're not gonna die.
Yeah.
But it looks like they work together at some point,
Hmm. It
which is
does.
interesting.
Well, and the little boy, he's painted a superhero mask on his face.
Hmm.
And it makes me wonder what Henry actually did. Did Henry even, did he sell someone out, or is it, or not, or is it paranoia, or you
Right.
know it's hard in this setup. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, Kathleen could be making some assumptions, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna protect me and Sam
Hmm.
instead of trying to talk her off the ledge."
Right, because she doesn't seem real stable.
No. She's like, "Shoot now, ask questions later."
Mm-hmm. Well, and then her I guess her second in command says, they go down to the bowels of the building and they see that breathing ground. I'm going to assume that's some kind of big spore or something.
Mhm.
He's like, when are we going to tell the people? Oh, not yet, because she doesn't want anything to interfere with finding these people that she has marked for death. That's her priority.
He's like, but the she's like, I said not yet. She's like, no, follow my orders, man. And he does. He locks the place up. She says, block it off and we'll deal with it later.
Right. No, he does give her kind of that side eye, like, not so sure about this. But he does follow her. He does follow her because at this, you can kind of tell that their overthrowing of Fedra has happened very recently.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's still willing to follow her as of right now because I'm going to assume that she was the main reason why they were able to overthrow Fedra to begin with.
Yeah. And
but if she,
it's probably, like you said, she was probably the ringleader in that, so he follows her now.
Right. But if she continues to make decisions that, puts other people in danger, then I imagine that she will start losing people following her.
Mm-hmm.
And there will probably another mini revolution. Because at this point, the way that she's acting, it's no different and maybe even a tad crueler than what Fedra has been up to this point.
Heck, or maybe they just find a way to kill Kathleen,
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty, she's bonkers.
Yeah, she is. And it might be her turn to die. So, and that would be okay. And they'll get a new leader and, Joel and Ellie will continue on their journey.
Yeah. And of course they have no skin in this game, so to speak. Right. They just want out.
They're just trying to get through. Right. I mean, honestly, all their supplies were in that truck. So hopefully they're able to get the supplies from that truck and carry on some way because they had a pretty sweet setup, honestly.
I don't think they're getting any of that back. From what I saw, they were already unloading everything. They knew what the contents, which is why they
were loaded,
Oh, they must be some kind of mercenaries or something, because they had all this
raiders
stuff.
Or something.
Yeah.
But those are some weak raiders. They're not very stealth if they're raiders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, they're really not thinking any of this through. It's this is not a thinking crowd. It's
they're a following crowd.
Well, and right now everything is very us against them.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not us, then you are them, and them is dangerous.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. And that's the thing. I feel like this episode was very tight, right? Like, and by that I mean there was things going on, but not a lot of things going on.
Yeah. Well, I think most of it was really more building towards this new relationship that Joel and Ellie are building with each other with the joke book.
Which was hilarious. Actually, I love Ellie's humor. It is so funny. Like when she found the magazine.
She's
like, I want to see. And she's like telling her to close it. And she's like, no, I'm going to look. And she's like, wait, why are these pages stuck together? She was really jerking his chain. Like, he's like, oh my God, he is very put out by it all. And she is having the greatest time at his expense. I love it.
Oh, yeah. And you can see that, and when they bed down for the night, and she tells them that joke. And, but you can see that he's starting to look at her in a different way by the end of the episode. And, the dirty magazine and the joke book. But I think even more than anything, it was when she shot that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Joel was really saddened by that. I'm so sorry. It hurts.
He's like, you're a kid. You shouldn't have to be doing this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he took the gun from her immediately, but he had to give it back. Like he's dealing with the reality of things.
Well, and then she said, it's not the first time I've shot someone. And he kind of, I think he assessed her a little differently at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he handed her the gun back. But
And showed her how to grip it better so someone couldn't just yank it out her hands.
yeah, who told you how to hold a gun like that? Fedra. Well, they did it wrong. Yeah.
Right.
And but from about that point on, for the rest of the show, he said to her at least a couple of different times, I'm sorry you're having to grow up like this. I'm
Yeah.
sorry for this world you're in.
But see,
And
that's the thing. She doesn't know what she's missing. You know what I'm saying? She's so young. She didn't have the before.
right. And I think that, and that makes Joel very sad. That she didn't have it before, that she has no idea what it is that she's missing. And she's actually, in some ways, she's kind of getting a little bit of a taste of that, like being in the car or in the truck. I
Mhm.
mean, that's a whole new experience for her, something that she probably never thought she'd have. Going on a road trip.
Enjoying and liking Chef Boyardee.
Yeah. These just little things that, from the past. And
Look,
even,
that tells you how many preservatives are in that thing if it's still good. That can was still good.
oh, I know.
I used to eat that crap as a kid too. I used to eat that when I was like, I don't
I'm
know,
not,
under 10, when I was yet too young to know better that it was
okay.
any bad for you.
I'm not going to lie. I've had some within the last year. So,
Really? Does it
yeah,
still taste the same or does it taste different?
it tastes the same.
Oh my god.
Now I only eat the ravioli one. That's the one I like.
Oh, I used to love the beefaroni one with the noodles.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, what a mess. I used to put cheese on it too.
Well, there you go.
So
See, you're
good.
doctoring it up.
I should try it now as a full grown adult and see if I still like it. I think my body would be like, WTF are you eating?
Mine doesn't. Okay, it's just happy if I feed it. Okay, so
Yeah.
oh look, it's terrible, but it's food.
It's
Yeah,
sustenance. We'll eat. We'll take it.
we'll take it. We'll take it. But
Mhm.
yeah, but and then before they went to sleep, near the end of the episode, he again apologized to her, and she's like, does it get any easier when you grow up? No, not really. This is, it pretty much stays all awful, you know.
Oh, this is status quo now, you know?
Yeah,
But
but
also in that scene, you could tell that they really turned a corner because he's laughing at her jokes.
hmm
He caved, he laughed. It's kind of like he let his guard down.
hmm well, and when the scarecrow joke, the fact that he knew that one, she
Yes.
was, did you read this book? No. How did you know? She was just flabbergasted that he actually knew the answer.
Mhm.
And and then when he started to laugh about, it runs, and he probably knew that one, because that one's I think everyone knows that particular joke. Um, but he went ahead and he let her have it, and giggled about it.
Yeah. It's
So
like they're really turning a corner, I think, in this episode.
yeah, and so I think that's what this episode, more than anything, was this build up to the relationship that's coming between the two of them. This
Mhm.
you know father daughter, almost father daughter bond.
Yeah, maybe that's why he also has a real hang up on Ellie having to do these adult things because he's knowing if that was my daughter, if you were my daughter,
hmm
I wouldn't want her doing this.
Well, and she's really close to his daughter's age.
Mhm.
Before she died, and so he's kind of seeing what the world would be. You know,
Mhm.
is seeing how the world would have been for her if she had lived, and I think it upsets him, because as much as he wanted, he not that he ever wanted his daughter to die, but seeing the world that she would have grown up in, yeah, I think it hurts him a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Mm.
So, and the realization that all the things that he did to survive to get to where he was, you know, she would have had to do those terrible things with him.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think he's kind of, you know doing a little bit of soul searching in a way, as they continue to bond.
Yes. Yeah. He's gonna grow as a character, which I like because he's starting off all gruff and stuff, and this is episode 4, and he's already turning the corner.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Ellie's she's a bit much, but she's likable. She's a likable kid.
She is a quintessential preteen, mouthy. She doesn't listen. Like when he tells her, "Put the gun in the bag," right? You're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
like shoot your butt off or something. What does she do? She puts it in her pocket
I
anyway.
know. She has not done a single thing he's told her to.
No.
Not
And she does
one.
not listen. Ellie has to learn the hard way, dude. She's like a hard way learner.
Oh yeah. And she always agrees, I will listen to you. I will follow your directions.
She will lie to your face.
Right.
Do
until you turn
else.
your back on her, and then she's gonna just do whatever she wants.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a mess, to be quite frank. Like, dang, she don't do. And the minute I said she's not going to do it, he says she never does. And she probably never will. That's going to be an ongoing theme throughout this whole series.
No. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, or now she will listen to him when it is life or death. When he told her to stay in the truck, she did stay in the truck. When he told her to go and hide in that little window or that little area in the wall, she did.
But I felt like she thought about it for a second before she ran over there. I feel like
I think that
tried to argue.
No, I think that had more to do with the bullets flying.
That too. Yeah, that too.
Because he kept telling you, they're not going to hit you. I got you. You can do this. But I honestly, in her position, I would be hesitant to move away from relative safety and, to dive through and a hole in the wall that you have no idea where it goes to.
Yeah, you don't know what's over there at all.
Yeah. So, for her, that was a moment of trust.
Well, it was either that or get shot possibly. So,
well, like I said, there was some relative safety there behind the truck. So it would be hard. I would be hard to motivate myself to run across an exposed area to climb into a wall, and awkwardly, I might add.
Yeah.
So
even when they were running, when they left the the little storefront, and they went to go find some place to hide out, and he boosts her in this little window, and then he's telling her to look around, and she just goes straight and open the door.
Right.
It's like, whatever.
And he's just like, oh my God. So she's not a real good partner in crime,
No.
So to speak, but she's what he's got.
No, she does not follow rules and regulations. She's like, whatever. That's funny.
And it's also good because she knows that Joel won't voluntarily leave her. Even if he wasn't thinking of her in a paternal way, the fact is he takes his cargo very seriously. So
yeah,
she does at least have that, that she knows that he won't abandon her.
Yeah, because he made a promise about it, right? He said he would do it. And I think that will hold true because not only, it's in the script, but because Tess keeps coming up in different ways. We're reminded that he actually cared for her and had a relationship with her, and she made him promise to do it, and he's going to do it.
Well, and he made that. He's made that commitment to Ellie several different times.
Yeah.
In several different ways to several different people. So
yeah, it's like once he decided, right? Once it was set, it's set.
Right. So she at least knows at least she doesn't have it in the back of her head, will he leave me? Because she knows anything short of death he won't.
Yeah, definitely. So she does have that security, which allows her to be more herself, I guess, more free to be snotty or whatever.
Because I think if she was really afraid of him leaving her, she would not be quite as brash.
Yeah, she's not afraid of him at all on any level, and it shows.
No. So, but if she was, I think she'd have a very different, attitude. But because she's pretty good at self-preservation.
She is.
For a teenager. But yeah, I think it's the fact that she has faith in him,
Mhm.
that he will not leave her, and that's what that gives her the ability to be as snotty as she is.
I mean, even okay, so I also noticed obviously Joel has a slight hearing problem,
Hmm.
but Ellie, she'll say his name. She did it several times in this episode. She'll say Joel, and he won't answer, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not. She'll
Right.
be like, Joel. He'll be like, what? You know, she does that when she has to wake him up at the end. I'm like, okay, we know she's got her listen to me voice.
Hmm.
It's funny, like how
Well,
she just yeah, so several times we've seen her do that. I'm sure she'll do that a lot more times
oh
when he
yeah.
chooses to ignore her or can't hear her, one or the other.
Well, and he does. You know, she asked him about, was it an injury? No, it's shooting.
Yeah.
And I mean, it without ear protection, if you're doing, especially in close quarters, it will damage your hearing. Absolutely will.
Yeah. I mean, he told her you might want to use that knife more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to keep your hearing,
Mhm.
and like I said, especially because it seems in the case where he's been using a gun, it's probably been in enclosed spaces, which is the worst place to use a gun.
Mhm. Mhm.
And long years of doing this has caused, and there's probably, I mean, what did he say? He's 53 years old, 54 years old.
Oh, did he say 50? Yeah, he's 50 something. I could have swore he said like 58 or something. Like I was like he's almost 60.
Yeah. No, I thought he said 53.
Really?
I don't remember.
Cause I mean, whatever he said, whatever I thought he said, I'm like, wow, he's like really close to 60. So I
Okay.
thought he was on the later end. But y'all, if you're listening, correct, let us know what you heard.
Yeah. Um, but, so I mean, age plays a factor into, declining hearing. But I gotta say, he sleeps a lot heavier than I would assume.
See, I knew he would sleep heavy because I don't think he slept that night in the woods.
Hmm.
After she kind of said, "Are you sure no one will?" She kind of expressed nervousness about someone
Right.
sneaking up on them.
And then you
And when
see him
she
getting up
right,
and standing guard over her.
right. So I'm like, I don't think he slept at all. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking that's why I knew he wouldn't hear the glass. I'm like, he's going to crash so hard.
Hmm.
And he
And if his
did.
plan, if the plan had gone like it was supposed to, he'd be in the area where his brother was right by now.
Mhm.
But instead, they're stuck in Kansas City.
Right.
And even now, pre-plague, no one wants to get stuck in Kansas City. You know,
Mhm. So, you know how last week you had caught some articles? I caught a few articles, and apparently, this episode took a lot verbatim, word from word from the video game.
yeah.
I was like, oh, interesting. So, they did change stuff as they always do, but there were a lot of scenes and a lot of what they were saying that was like literally cut, copy, paste, which was
Hmm.
kind of cool for people who play the game.
Yeah. And they did say that they were expanding these characters out a little more, three dimensionally,
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
because they were just basically NCP players for the most part.
Right.
But yeah, but a lot of these scenes are taken directly from the video game. So
Which I'm sure is very nice for, the players to see because, as a book reader, I love when I'm like, oh, that happened just like that in the book. So I get enjoyment out of that. And I'm sure they're getting some enjoyment out of seeing some things reflected on the screen.
oh yeah, I mean the numbers for this show seem to. I mean, people are really enjoying it, gamers and non-gamers.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think they've done a really good job so far with this storyline, and I like the thing that because on a lot of these other zombie shows we have no idea why,
Right.
and they don't make any sense. You just suspend your disbelief and just go with it.
Exactly.
But on this one, there's a rational explanation for why this is happening, and the science is more or less there, on plausibility scale.
Hmm.
And it makes it a little more grounded, I guess would be a
Yeah.
good word for it.
Mhm. Yeah, and
So,
actually we didn't see any zombies this episode,
mm-mm.
which was okay, I guess. We don't need it every episode.
Yeah, I think they're judiciously using them because I get the feeling that they're the biggest threat to Joel and Ellie really isn't the zombies, it's the people.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter if they're Fedra or non-Fedra or whatever. For the most part, people are bad, or at least
Yeah.
maybe they're not necessarily bad, but it's bad for them to be around them.
Right, because they have no, they've really let the morals go. They just do what
Yeah.
they feel they wanna do, you know?
Well, I think there's a little more to it. Everyone has become very tribal, more or less, and these aren't people that travel. These aren't people that they don't make new connections. New people means new danger. And
Yeah.
if someone is out and about, there's something very weird about them.
Yeah, like, I mean, this is a great example. So, probably this whole group of people that took over this, station or whatever, they probably all were in the same community together.
Oh yeah.
Just like the doctor was like, "I gave birth to you." So, I bet a lot of them, even if they may not have known them per se, they've seen them on the street,
Mm-hmm.
seen them in the grocery store or something, they are probably their original community.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure they had some additions, but the core group is probably from Kansas City, and
Yeah.
they were at least from that. They have that communal
Mhm.
mindset.
Right.
And again, as far as anyone else is concerned, if you're out and about, you're a raider or someone who is a mercenary of some sort.
Mhm.
People don't good people don't leave, essentially.
Mm. Well, I think we'll get more on that as we get to know a little more about this group because, like you said, we're getting a little more than we would in the game about these
Hmm.
these characters. So maybe we'll get a little more next time because obviously I feel like what's her face may not make it out alive.
Yeah,
Kathleen, I think she's a goner. Uh,
I
but we'll
do
have to
too.
see what happens to the father and son.
Hmm. I don't know if they'll make it or not, but I don't think Kathleen is long for this world.
Yeah, same. So next week, FYI, in case you guys didn't know, they are airing it on Friday instead of Sunday. Did you know that, Lisa?
I did not.
Yes, they are airing it on Friday instead of Sunday because of Super Bowl.
Oh, because I originally heard that they were just going to go ahead and you know keep it on the regular schedule.
Now, I saw an article
And
today, and my husband actually told me too. He's like, "Did you know that?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I just saw that."
okay, that's a recent development because they said that for the next 3 weekends, was it there's going to be the Grammys, football, and something else.
Yeah. Well, if you
And
check now, the release date is the 10th, which is Friday.
okay,
But we'll still
so
be unless you have something unless you because I have stuff on the weekend, so we'll still be here Monday, but
yes.
just so you know, if you wanna watch it before, don't wait till Sunday, it's available on Friday.
All right, good to know. I wouldn't be watching football anyway, but
Yeah, I watch strictly for the commercials, and then I actually don't watch the game, and then when I hear the commercials are on, I'll go look if it sounds interesting, and I watch
uh,
halftime, and that's about it.
yeah, I used to occasionally go to like Super Bowl parties and I'd watch the commercials.
Yeah.
I'd go there for the food and commercials. It's kind of sad.
No, that's how it is. That's how it is if you're not a football fan. And you know what though? Actually, nowadays, the last I don't know how many years, you've been able to wake up the next day and watch all the commercials on YouTube.
Yes.
So you don't even have to watch the commercials anymore. You'll see it 6
True.
hours later on YouTube.
This is true.
So
So
there's that. Yeah.
so I guess they decided initially they were going to go, yes, we're going to go up against football, and I guess now they went, no, maybe not.
They're like, why risk it? We've had such great numbers. Why would we want to risk it for Super Bowl, right?
Exactly.
And
So
I think that was a wise choice.
yeah. Oh, I don't. I mean, it wouldn't have affected my viewing one way or the other,
But
but
it
I
would
know
affect
for
their ratings.
but it would have affected their ratings overall.
Yeah. And you know how it is. They want those ratings or you get canceled.
Oh, well, they've already been greenlit for next season, but
That's not stopping anything. I've heard some reversals. They've reversed stuff before.
yeah, they have. That's
So,
true.
but yeah, I think this show is safe, honestly. I think it's safe for a second season. It was such a hit right out the gate. And
Hmm.
unless they make like a sharp left turn, I feel like it's pretty safe.
Yeah, I did get kind of a giggle because I was reading an article. I guess there are rumors going around that the actress that plays Ellie is going to be replaced next season. No,
No,
and
why would
she's
that
not.
happen? Oh,
She's
okay.
not. But there's these persistent rumors, and I guess I can't remember the actress's name. She's even gotten on online, and she's like, "No, I'm not being replaced. I know that I'm in the second season. Oh no, no, we've heard rumors.
You know what?
There
This just
aren't.
takes me back to the lunacy of some of the WTD fans.
Uh huh.
Like, come on, y'all. Like, stop with the crazy.
Yeah, I guess they were arguing with her online. No, no, you're not going to be in second
How you gonna
season.
argue with the person that has the job?
I know, right?
She would know.
She would know. So yeah, because I guess in second there is a small time jump.
Okay.
Uh, but she goes to 19.
Oh, I like it.
But the actress that she's 19 right now, so
Yeah. Which I think is fine. I think it's cool she can actually play her real age.
yeah, so yeah, I don't think it's going to be much of a stretch, and I think the biggest change will probably be demeanor.
Wow. So if there is a time jump like that, so that's at least like what, 5 years or something?
Mm-hmm.
So
Because she's
that means
13 now.
okay, so if she's 19, yeah, so that's like 6 years. So
Mm-hmm.
that means when they come back together, Joel will be even older.
Mm-hmm.
They probably would have had an established parental child relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that would be interesting to see how this old man's getting around.
And you can tell that after the car accident stuff, he was shuffling a little bit.
He was hurting because we already heard about the knees, and then they
Mm-hmm.
climbed all of these. I think they climbed what, 10 flights,
35.
35 out of 40, 44 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
41 or something. They were close, but he gave out like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm like, so he's already, and I mean, I understand. I'm not as old as him by any means, but hell, if I had to climb 35 flights of stairs right now, I would be hurting at 35.
Oh yeah. Okay, I am close to Joel's age. Depending if he was 30, around 54. Me and him are pretty of an age together. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know that I can go up 35 flights of stairs.
I'd be like, where is my Advil? I need
Yeah.
something now. If you want these legs to get up and move tomorrow,
Oh God,
need some
I'd be
pain.
crippled the next day too. The fact that he could get up and move, I'll be impressed.
I know. But
So
I'd like to
yeah.
think if I was in the apocalypse, I'd be in much better shape because I wouldn't have a choice.
Well, there's that. There is that. Still, 35 flights of stairs. Oh my
That's
God.
that's nothing to frown at. I mean, that's a lot of work.
It is. So anyway, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm ready to see, Joel and Ellie really start interacting with other people, because up to this point they really haven't.
No.
It's just been the two of them. So next episode there's going to be a lot more, interaction.
Yeah, which is gonna make it fun, I think. I think we'll have some action scenes. We'll have some maybe explosives or shootouts or something. It's gonna be something, to kind
Mhm.
of pick the pace up a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lull before the storm.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Is there anything else you think we should cover?
No, I think we got it pretty much covered.
Yeah, I think we did it. That was a good episode. I had a good time with it. Yay.
Yay.
All right. So we will be back here next Monday, you guys, and we'll be talking about episode 5. Hope you're here as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're still listening. Appreciate you for doing that. and we'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.